All right, teammates. We are back once again. If this is your first time listening to the Move Swiftly podcast, welcome to the show. Welcome to the #1 show on innovative teamwork. Great to have you. To my regular listeners, let's do this again. You guys know what it's all about. We bring people on that do nothing but simply have a goal of helping you achieve whatever it is you're trying to achieve, giving you just a little gem, a little something to take that next step forward. So I have the founder. All right, there's a lot of supplement brands, a lot of people selling a lot of bullshit out there. I have the founder of CorVive, which is a supplement brand, which again, if you're a regular listener, you know I was dehydrated just 10 months ago, attempting a marathon, went to the hospital, the whole thing. So I'm all about what he's going to be saying. A former athlete, has made millions, has sold businesses, started businesses, so many things that Jeremy has done. Yet he was held back in kindergarten. So,
Yeah.
of all that, I when I was listening to your story early, Jeremy, that was the part that really stuck out to me in terms of the fact that, hey, there's a situation where a teacher's not realizing a certain diagnosis and you have to figure it out on your own. So kind of the best place to start this is just give us a little bit about your background, where you came from. It's an incredibly inspiring story, and we'll kind of go from there, man.
Awesome. As one, it's a pleasure to be on your podcast. Been following it for quite some time, man. You're definitely a gem in your industry, man. You do a good job of helping people know that you got to take action in order to have success. And,
Yes, sir.
like the story said, I grew up in a little small town of 2,000 people, and my mom and dad was hardworking parents, grew up on a farm and ranch. And, like the story goes, I knew that I had something good in me, and I believe that God put good in all of us.
Yes, sir.
We just got to figure out what it is and get that out of us and go take life and conquer life. And it's a true story. I was in kindergarten, and at the time they didn't know I was red green colorblind, and my mom got called up to the kindergarten. They said, "You're going to be held back," and I'm like, "How in the world do you flunk kindergarten?"
You're full
And the
kindergarten,
final
right?
exam, and the final exam was the colors, and she showed me 4 or 5 different times,
Mm-hmm.
the colors, and right in front of my mom, she said, "See, he don't even know his colors. I just got through telling him his colors, and he don't even know his colors, so I'm gonna hold him back." And later I didn't find out till I was a sophomore in high school that
Wow.
I was red green colorblind, and didn't find out till college that I was dyslexic. But I think in life, we always don't understand that we may have challenges,
Mm-hmm.
but because I had the challenges of dyslexic and colorblind, as one, that just made me work harder. And that made me look at these challenges and said, you know what, I'm going to succeed in life. And,
Mm-hmm.
I thought playing pro sports is what's going to be my life-changing experience, and had some injuries and different things, but actually went on to college, ended up being a farmer myself, and got introduced though to nutrition back when I was 22.
Right.
And it wasn't just the nutrition part that changed me, it was understanding business, personal development, leadership,
Right.
and understanding how to serve others. I think so many times in business, we want to make money for our checking account, and we don't understand the importance of serving others first, helping other people solve problems in their life, whether it be physical, whether it be lack of education on nutrition, whether that be, personal development.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what gravitated me towards this industry,
Right.
is helping people solve problems in their life. And, CorVive now is a 6-year-old company, but I actually made a lot of $1 million in being the #1 producer in a nutrition company
Yeah.
back when I was in my mid 30s, retired once, but,
Mhm.
thought I was going to always be retired. But there's something in us that God put in us that you're not going to be fulfilled in life unless you're chasing greatness.
Yeah.
And that's what I love to do, just like listening to your podcast. That's the way you are too. And that's why we align so much,
Mm-hmm.
is life is designed for us to go chase greatness.
Yes, and I want to make sure it gets mentioned for any, because I teach now. I still teach. I'm out here in West Palm Beach, and we deal with a lot of kids that have learning disabilities, and I'm lucky enough to be at a school that really tracks and monitor these things. But when it looks at our competitors, so to speak, the other public school systems, there's so many kids out there that are going through these learning disabilities, and you teachers or the system, I should say, I don't want to put the teachers on the spot, but some of you teachers do need to be called out. You're just sliding them through. You're sliding them
Right.
through. You're just making them feel like, okay, I don't feel like dealing with that problem. And he just said he was a sophomore in college, and he found out he was dyslexic. So imagine the kinds of things that he would have been able to do had his parents been aware of this situation, and you would have known this, you would have known that. I mean, you just mentioned being an athlete. I know for a fact as a former football player, these are things that you would have been better at. Playbook, recognizing plays, all sorts of things would have been different. Yet you don't walk around with this level of resentment at all for it. You don't walk
Right.
around like, oh, I was owed this. That's not what's happening at all. And that's what I want to make sure I emphasize to the listeners as well, because you told a story when you were, transitioning into high school that, the college, like me, again, I went to college only to play football, but if it wasn't for football, I probably would not have even considered it. But you met a young lady, and I want to make sure I give you the platform a little bit to speak on her influence, because the story you told about her father and making sure you went to college and just putting you on the right track, I think that speaks to fatherhood. It speaks to the importance of especially men being there, being men for our young ladies to be to model after, someone to look up to. So the floor is yours, man.
Absolutely. I was one. Yeah, I fell in love with my high school sweetheart. And
Mm-hmm.
her dad, I mean, she's beautiful, half Hispanic, half Swedish. And I'm just like, man, I can't get no better than this one. I'm not
I
messing
hear
this up.
you. Yeah.
And I wanted to play college sports, had some offers and different things, but had some injuries that, kept me from doing what I wanted to do. But he said the only way you're marrying my daughter is if you get a college degree.
Right.
And I look back, and at the time was a little bit of resentment because I didn't want to go to college,
Right.
but it taught me so much. Again, I knew as one, I had a learning disability. I mean, to this day, when I grab a book, I turn to the back of the book. I mean, anytime I see things different than everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
But what that challenge did is it pushed me to overcome that.
Right.
I agree with you, with the system, it's so easy to push kids through and different things like that. But once you really learn about any disability from a learning standpoint, it's not that that person is not as intelligent as the next person. It
Exactly.
means they just learn different and God give them other different abilities. And if you really break down dyslexic, most of your top entrepreneurs are
Mm-hmm.
struggling with dyslexic, ADD, ADHD,
Yeah.
all these different challenges.
Right.
And so that's one thing that I try to teach every person I work with from a leadership standpoint, business, fitness, nutrition is don't take your disabilities and make an excuse with it. Take
Right.
those disabilities and say, this is going to make me better and stronger in the years to come.
Yes, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because when you were and I again, we can debate this off camera. Or there's people listening that can go at me or disagree or agree with what I'm going to say, but college is only as good as you make it. So her dad
Right.
telling you that you have to get to college was not necessarily, oh, college is this all important, this all encompassing thing. However, in his mind, this is his baby girl, and he's basically saying, I want you to be productive, I want you to be educated, I want you to be someone that can stand on his own 2 feet. So I believe you mentioned, was it an engineering degree that you went and got, or you graduated early, but you went immediately and worked back on the farm. And what I'm curious about, because I grew up kind of in a metropolitan, a city area, is, when you're on this farm and you're growing things, does that have a correlation at all in terms of the work you were able to do with the supplement brands now? Because there's a lot of junk out there. Again, I'm
Oh, yeah.
a former
Yeah.
football player, and I know specifically how much we're approached by it. Former fitness trainer, we're approached by it on a daily basis, and I know how much is out there. This is the first time I'm actually meeting with someone that actually founded it himself, but had the background as a farmer that actually
Yeah.
grew the crops and knows exactly what's going in these bottles, and then he's going out and selling them. So that I'm really, really want you to dive in on a little bit.
Yeah, as one, really what that I at a young teenage life, I knew that there was something to nutrition, right?
Mhm.
My dad was a farmer, his dad was a farmer, and I watched how they was so particular on how they treated their soil, how we managed the soil, and then all of our animals. He would make sure that they had magnesium if they was on wheat
Wow.
fields grazing. He made sure they had the salt blocks, all these different things. And as a teenager, I'll never forget asking my dad, how come we don't take vitamins? How come we don't take vitamin C? How come we don't? We're giving our
Wow.
animals, we're treating our soil correctly, So at a young age, I had a love and an understanding of the importance of nutrition in our body.
Mm,
And I'll never forget going to Walmart for the first time at 12 or 13, looking at the vitamin section. Now I realize most of them are junk and it's
yeah,
just from a marketing plea. But I understood that if we're giving, and it's funny, like society today, they'll make sure that their dogs have all these different things, but they're not treating their own body, as an athlete, as what we're trying to do, invest in our body long term.
right.
And then from as I continued to mature and went to the classes in college and learned about, the soil and all the minerals, there's like 62 minerals in the soil.
Hmm.
But a lot of people don't understand. My great grandpa, when he farmed 40 acres, he
Hmm.
would grow a spinach crop and then he'd wait 2 or 3 years and let those minerals and nutrients replenish themselves in the soil, not
Wow.
harvest anything else.
Hmm.
And nowadays, on that same 40 acres of spinach, that they'll grow 3 or 4 crops, but they only put nitrogen, phosphorus, and potash back into the soil and have no understanding of the other, 58 other minerals and nutrients that is needed in that soil to,
Right.
to produce the correct crop. So you
Mhm.
take spinach, for example, now and the nutrient value is like a fraction of what it used to be 40 years ago. And
Right.
so that really created my curiosity of understanding the importance of supplementation.
Okay.
And as I got to be more educated and understood, the organic mass in the soil and how we're not doing that anymore,
Right.
the humus in the soil, the importance of that, the calcium that's being depleted, the magnesium that's been depleted. And then that's when I got introduced to nutrition when I was 22 years old
Mhm.
and was a part of a company. And then I just took that knowledge of how our soils are depleted. I mean, every year there's new diseases that come out that they make new names from them. And if you
Hmm.
really research that disease, it's mainly because we're deficient on vitamin D, vitamin B12, all these different things. I mean, most men our age
Mhm.
are way depleted in vitamin D, vitamin B12, all these different things. And it's because we don't get it from our food source today because our souls are so depleted.
So there's the ethical piece in what you're promoting and that's your truth because you grew up on the farm. But then there's the sales part of it. There's the part of it that you have to figure out a way to make a dollar. And you've even been transparent enough to experience having to go bankrupt and, having your wife have to pay for dinner and all that. I'm not going to make you relive that experience right now.
Right.
But I am I'm actually doing this interview at a Whole Foods where it's commonly known as one of the best places to eat. But there have been situations where, like let's say a Gatorade or a Powerade, where I've been told by other runners, because I'm a runner, hey, that has a lot of sugar in it. However, we give it to our kids. And there's been actually several, there was a farmer, yeah, lady named Deborah who was on the show who runs a organization named Eat Better, Live Better, where I asked her, what's the problem when it comes to nutrition? He's like, look, we reward kids for eating healthy. We reward kids with McDonald's. We reward kids with candy and all that, but it sells, the McDonald's and all that sells. Talk to us a little bit about how you were able to merge that gap between the ethical, what's going in your body versus what has to be sold. Because I could imagine you're running into business owners and people that have these platforms and say, look, all that stuff you're talking is great, but I'm trying to get these, I'm trying to get this thing sold to a bulk of kids and get my money and I'm out of here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. The biggest thing is it's all about education, right? I
Right.
mean, the big Gatorade companies, Powerade, Prime, all of them, they do a phenomenal job on marketing.
Mm.
They get all the pro athletes to say that they're drinking that, all those different things. But when it comes right down to it, our company, CorVive, that we launched 6 years ago, we sell to a lot of the Major League Baseball teams.
Mm.
And but even though like one of the teams will have Prime in their dugout, that's just a money transaction.
Oh,
But there's no way those athletes, because they've been educated by the dietitians, the nutritionists, the
mhm.
strength and conditioning coaches, they would not put those drinks in their body for nothing in the world.
Wow.
Not only the sugar content, but the dyes, the preservatives. I
Yeah.
mean, go look up on Google what red dye and yellow dye and all these
Yeah.
different things do to our body.
Right.
It's just not good, man. So the
Yeah.
biggest thing, yes, we always are going to have to, being a small business owner in the nutrition industry, we're going to have to jump over those hurdles,
Mhm.
to pass those big companies of marketing. And really the only way you can do that is through education process. But here's what's happening as one, as we're in the 2024 year, is with the power of the internet, you have a lot of people that can self-educate themselves.
Mhm.
Back in the 80s and the 90s, we just had to believe what the doctor said. We just had to
Yeah.
believe what Gatorade said. But nowadays, you can go on and educate yourself
Mhm.
of the power of nutrition and good nutrition. When we launched CorVive, I said from the word go, the first most important thing is safety. We're going to make sure that we have our products are the safest products on the market. That's why we spend the extra money to get the GMP certification, which is expensive. We
Mhm.
spend the money on the NSF certification, which you have to be in order to sell to a Major League Baseball team. That's a very expensive process. But
Yeah.
what that does is it guarantees to the consumer that we are going above and beyond. We only do USA ingredients. We have no artificial sweeteners. We have no artificial dyes, no artificial ingredients at all. And we source all of our ingredients here only in the United States of America.
Mhm.
And nothing against foreign countries, but when you're dealing with foreign countries, there's so much you cannot control from
Right.
an ingredient standpoint. And even though it's been tested, you don't really know what you're taking. And that's why we do C of A's, which is called certificate of analysis, on
Mhm.
every one of our ingredients. We quarantine it until it comes back from a third party company to make sure all of our products meet the perfect guidelines to make sure that it's safe. And then the next thing we put an emphasis on is the taste.
Right.
I've been in nutrition now for 25 years, and I don't care how good a protein shake or hydration drink is for you.
Mhm.
If you don't taste good, you're not going to do it long term. So we put a lot of emphasis on the taste and then also the results. There's a reason why the Major League Baseball teams are using our product. We have a lot of military accounts. There's a reason they're choosing us over the more popular brands,
Mhm.
and that's because not only the safety, not only the taste good, but also the results of the product.
Yeah, you actually just taught me something. I thought I knew everything there was to know about sports marketing. I had no idea that, Prime and a Gatorade is just simply for the banners and then the actual play. Because I actually wrote a blog about that. It was about LeBron, and it was when they were doing the McDonald's All-Star game and the Powerade and stuff. I said it, if he has too much McDonald's and too much Powerade, it's going to stunt his actual athletic ability. And you just kind of validated that entire concept. But I had no idea that the big corporate companies were not
Yeah.
making sure that the players were
You
not
you
actually
couldn't
taking
get you
that.
couldn't get one of those pro athletes to take anything like a Gatorade or a Prime for nothing in the world. Now they'll take millions of dollars to hold it in their
Endorse
hand
it.
for a pitcher,
Yeah,
but it's kind of like when Tiger Woods was big and making his debut
yeah,
and was everywhere. Tiger Woods promoted a Buick, but he didn't drive a Buick. you
right.
know so it's one of those money
Uh-huh.
marketing transitions, and that's why it kind of hurts me. I train a lot of young athletes,
Mhm.
and when I see them go to the concession stand and grab a Gatorade or a Prime or something like that, I'm just like, oh man,
Yeah.
you have no idea what you're putting in your body. And a pro athlete is only going to put the proper fuel in their body to perform at the highest level. They now have the education because of the people that they are around,
Mhm.
and they understand the importance of putting good quality fuel in their body to perform at a high level.
Well, you actually kind of beat me to the next thing I want to ask you. Given this new landscape of NIL, and I've done my share of NIL deals, and I've tried to educate whether it's the parents or the athletes. I mean, there's little eighth graders that are signing six-figure deals and all that. Do you see this as an opportunity to educate the NCAA or educate the parents, the college coaches about this? Or has it become such a money grab that you just say, look, I have quality products here with professional athletes. I'm not going to waste my time with, this college that really just wants to make a quick buck.
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely done some NIL deals. CorVive has, and we
Mhm.
actually are selling to quite a few colleges right now.
Okay.
What's really good though, as one, is these people are coming to us now.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
Because in order to have that NSF certification, it's a very strict process that a lot of
Mhm.
companies they can't pass that certification. So we are actually on the NSF certification website, and so
Mhm.
companies are finding us and saying, you know what, you guys are putting out the top ingredients. You're
Right.
going through the extra mile. as far as the expense on the certifications.
Mm-hmm.
And so as we continue to grow in popularity,
Mm-hmm.
yes, I'm not saying we won't reach out to them, but the good thing is we are consistently having people reach out to us and saying, you know what, it's time to turn this thing around where it's not just about dollars, it's
Mm-hmm.
about giving our student athletes the best products to perform at the best ability.
Okay, this is a very key point I want to make sure I make to you guys as listeners, because you've heard me say it probably about 1,000 times. I'm going to say it again, but 1%. When he said professional athletes, that's going to be 1%. One
Right.
percent of you guys are going to be playing professionally. The majority of you guys are going to be in high school. You're going to be lucky enough to get D3, D2, those smaller schools, which means you have to figure out something you're going to do when their playing career ends. And God forbid, listen, it could end immediately right now. And it's going to be the quality products, the quality people, the quality things that you have in your life. That's what it's going to take for you to survive, to even stay involved in sports and kind of stay in the game, so to speak. And, I think it's important now that you kind of speak on the fact that you didn't have to do this. You were,
No.
in a ranch, you were chilling, you had your money, you had your wife, your boys, like you could have wrapped this thing up, and something was kind of tugging on your heartstrings to say, I got to get back into it. So, so you kind of speak on that story a little bit so people understand that this is not a money grab for you. This is actually something that you're really doing from your heart.
Absolutely, as one. I'll still never forget the morning.
Uh-huh.
My wife and I, we lived on this ranch. We built a 12,000 square foot lodge in the middle of the mountains. Our home was at 7,200 feet elevation. And my favorite part, as one, is we had no ticks, no spiders, no poisonous snakes, no
Mm,
mosquitoes. I mean,
mm.
it was just
It
like
was lovely. I'm, I'm
we had
picturing
a
it myself.
oh man, it was greatness. We looked out the living room window. There was 6 mountain ranges that had snow on it all the time. We had
Yeah.
a trout river running through the property. I mean,
Right.
it looked like heaven on earth. And
Uh-huh.
and then we had the millions in the bank. We had everything we wanted.
Yeah.
And but for me, and as an entrepreneur that is driven, you're not really fulfilled just having money in the bank. The
Yeah.
only way you're truly fulfilled is if you're pushing yourself daily to be the best you can be. And not only be the best you can be, but does it allow other people's lives to be impacted? That's the biggest thing that I was missing. I
Yeah.
had everything else. And I was actually went through about 3 days of not sleeping. I couldn't sleep for more than 2 hours. And
Man.
and I was just seeking, what am I missing here? I was trying to talk myself into being happy.
Yeah.
And about 4:30 in the morning, we lived in that big house, and my wife come around the kitchen, and I was sitting on the couch and reading, and she looked up at me and like, why don't you just come back to bed? What are you doing?
Right.
And I stood up, man, and I'm reliving this moment as one.
Yeah.
And I looked her in the eyes, and she said, "You're going to start a company, aren't you?"
Hmm.
And I said, "Candace, we are going to start a company. I'm not." I said, "I'm not dead. I've got a lot of life to live."
Mm-hmm.
And I've took a lot of years of mentoring people, training people on nutrition, and I understand the nutrition industry. We're not going to be the first. There's a lot out there,
Mm-hmm.
but we are going to make the best brand that people can rely on, and we're going to create a community of people
Mm-hmm.
that we can educate them, that we can make them be a part of a family. We can change their physical state, we can change their mental state, and
Mm-hmm.
we can provide these young athletes not only good supplementation but an education to go with it.
Yeah.
And we are going to create a brand that's known all over the United States, and we're going to make an impact to thousands and thousands of people's lives. And you know my wife, she's when you're married to an entrepreneur, as one, it's kind of got its challenging moments, right? Because
A
she
lot.
was kind of like in that real comfortable state where I've got
Mm-hmm.
my husband, I got my boys, we got money, we live in this beautiful place, don't have to worry for anything. And I just said, this is what I got to do. And
Yeah.
she grabbed me by the hand as one, and we've built it. We have a long ways to go. We're a
Yeah.
6-year-old company now,
Mm-hmm.
but I look back at that moment, and the reason it was hard for me to process that, and I kind of get emotional about it,
Yeah.
is I knew that I was going to have to give that up.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I was going to have to move back to the city. I knew I was going to have to get back in the grind. I knew I was going to be at the R&D team, meetings on a daily to weekly basis. I
Yeah.
knew I was going to be making sure manufacturing was doing their job. I knew I was going to making sure the shipping facility was doing their job, customer service.
Yeah.
I knew the responsibility that lied on that,
Mhm.
and it was a very hard decision for me. But
Yeah.
I tell you, every day I wake up and I'm blessed and I get to do what I love to do, which is providing a good, safe place for a lot of employees, providing world-class products to the best, not only athletes, but the everyday person
Mhm.
that's looking for the most out of life. They just don't know where to turn because of all the confusion in the marketplace.
Yes, and well, first of all, your emotion is very much appreciated and it's heartfelt and it's understood because I myself, as an entrepreneur, understand. I mean, I'm literally getting goosebumps as I'm thinking about this. Your family, when you're an entrepreneur, when you have it in your heart, when you have it, you really, really want it so bad to the point where you're not even doing it for you, you're seeing a different person. Your family takes a toll, man. Your family takes a
Yep.
toll, whether it's your wife, whether it's your parents, whether it's the parents of your wife, it doesn't matter. The people around you, it takes a toll because it's something that pulls on a person's heartstrings because they're doing it for the education. We're doing it for you, athletes. We're doing it because we see ourselves in you. We just want to give you something, like I say, to open up every single show. We're doing it to just give you a little bit of something so you can keep moving. And you mentioned this before, and I want to make sure I give you an opportunity to kind of elaborate on it a little, just a little more detail. And for me, myself personally, because I too am a runner. I just got dehydrated. The pictures are out there. The article is out there. I've told my listeners I'm coming back. Only a few more months, but I got to get my marathon in. But I run with a group of people that over the age of 30, I've seen runners as I've come to realize, you don't have to stop being an athlete. You can be an athlete
No.
at 50, 60. I mean, there's some 70 runners out there just in tip top shape. Can you kind of educate us a little bit on how you educate people on your products? Because again, like some people, look, sometimes the Gatorade is just right there. I'm cramping. I need something. I can tell you from experience. Look, I'm in the ambulance and they're just giving me something to stop the cramps. And I'm thinking, like, man, if I would have probably known Jeremy before that moment, then so many things would have changed. But I'm not an old man now. But just kind of educate us on how you go about educating people so people know, hey, all right, I can meet you here. I can invite you to speak. I can do this and all that kind of stuff. So go ahead.
Yeah, well, as one of the things that number one, we're gonna hook you up with the best products. So don't worry
Oh
about that.
yes,
I'll
we
get
need it,
your
brother. We need
address
it,
after the
and it'll
podcast.
make
We're
a
gonna have
great
some products
story
come.
in terms of what I
Yeah,
actually. This was the second time in high school when I played football in high school. The same thing happened to me after my first game as a senior. Hot as soon as I started one cramp, everything went down. So I didn't think I was gonna ever have to experience that in my life, but I'm starting to think it may be an actual problem with dehydration and cramps and stuff. So I'm like, I just finished a gallon of water. I do a gallon of water every day. I'm like really freaking out when it comes to me running over 10 miles now because
yeah,
I get when I feel one, I'm already getting nervous. So you already
yeah,
feel
yeah.
it in my voice.
Yeah, and I mean water is great, right? We have
Uh-huh.
to have water and you need to consume a lot of water.
Right.
But when you're performing at a high level, you're not only getting rid of water, you're getting rid of all the important minerals
Hmm.
that's in our body. And so with the formula, the key is the formula with the CorVive hydrate is it's all about the right mixture of sodium, of zinc, of magnesium,
Hmm.
all the beneficial minerals that your body needs in order to replenish those electrolytes. We have 6 grams of sugar cane. And one of the biggest things that is a big mistake in the marketing world right now is they tried to market a hydrate drink with no sugar. Well, then they put artificial sweeteners in there.
Hmm.
Okay, so you need a certain amount of sugar, about 6 grams to 7 grams, in order for your electrolytes, the cells to really receive that magnesium, that sodium, all those things that you lose.
Hmm.
And so the formula is so powerful because we use the pure sugar cane, which means it's not been processed. Processed sugar is what does more harm. But
Hmm.
being that it's a pure sugar cane, it's a lot more expensive to
Yeah.
produce that with the right minerals, then your body is going to receive that, flush the lactic acid out, and give you that performance that you're looking for. I just got a testimony in from one of the college or one of the high schools here, big high school in Texas.
Hmm.
He said in 28 years, I've never went a season without having any cramps in a game. And he
Wow,
just
that's
got
a
through
huge.
winning a state championship and went through. Now, you know how big Texas football
Yeah,
is. He
it's
went through a
yeah,
whole
yeah.
season with not one player having
Wow.
a cramp. And I'll send you this
Yes.
testimonial, but it's powerful. But he had everyone as one of his players. And this is what I tell people. Like, my son just got back from the East Coast playing the crosses tournament. He spends about 6 weeks a year up there on the East Coast.
Hmm.
Now, it might be 85 degrees in Baltimore, you know that, but it might be
Yeah.
100% humidity.
Yeah.
And so you're just sweating like crazy. So what we do is we try to take a 3 to 4 day ramp up time
Mhm.
before that performance. So obviously we're eating good carbs like pastas and things like that at night. We're eating, chia seeds, nuts, all those different things. But we're doing a hydrate in the morning, a hydrate at noon, and a hydrate at dinner. We're
Okay.
doing that for 3 or 4 days straight before that race, before
Okay.
that
That's
lacrosse
enough for the
tournament.
start, right?
And that's what you got to do. You got to get it in your system. 85% of Americans are dehydrated. I
Yeah.
mean, I can look, I've did this so long now, I can look at someone's eyes, look
Wow.
in their eyes, and I can tell you that they're dehydrated.
Wow.
And so, but what happens is people don't understand that build up before that big performance.
Hmm.
And so they go into that performance already dehydrated. Then they want to drink a hydrate, but they're so far behind, their body is
Yeah.
not going to be allowed to catch up.
Hmm.
So giving yourself some time before that performance, I drink a hydrate in the morning right when I wake up,
Hmm.
and then I do my energy product and my other vitamins. And
Hmm.
then I go to the gym, but I have another hydrate with me, 2 scoop hydrate, and I'm sipping on it during the workout to
Right.
make sure that I'm replenishing the good glucose in my system and the electrolytes in my system. That way I get the most out of my workout, where I'm going to get bigger and stronger and then leave that gym not dehydrated.
Yes.
So it's very important not just to look at, CorVive hydrate as, oh, I'm dehydrated, I ran 10 miles, I'm going to drink one. It's
Hmm.
starting 2 or 3 days before
Right. Right.
and staying ahead of the curve and
Yeah.
making sure you're hydrated, and you're going to get the most out of that performance. And then you're going to
Right.
come home and you're not going to be as sore. You're,
Mhm.
you're going to feel great. You're going to have a clear mind. You're going to have clear thoughts, and you're going to be ready the next day because you recover correctly.
I think that is the key, because as I was going through the training, there was a lot of coconut water. I was drinking a lot of coconut water. I think it was like Vita Coco or something, but a lot of it was store bought. Again, I probably made the mistake of trying to do it on my own. I was running with a group, but I tried to rush it and not really consult with the experts. So, with all that, I want to be very respectful of your time. Can you just kind of tell people, you kind of already mentioned it, but what do you see as the next phase, like the next 10, 15 year plan for what it is you're doing? How do you plan on building it? Like, what can we expect to see in terms of what's next?
Yeah, well, one of the things that we want to be known for as one is the company you can trust.
Hmm.
So whatever we come out with, we're going to have the best raw ingredients and the best taste and the best products that people can say, if it has CorVive's name on it, then I know it's legit. I know it's the best. And so we are definitely working on a lot of different products right now. We're
Right.
working on a creatine product. It's so important. I take 5 grams of creatine every day to help hydrate the muscles.
Right.
It's also been proven to be it's really good for your cognitive, for all the different things from brain development.
Hmm.
So we're working on a creatine right now. We're also working on an energy drink in the can. I love the powder drinks
Right.
because you can make a good powder drink and put it in water, and you don't have to worry about the preservatives that you have to put. So we're working on through that process with our R&D team. I'm like, hey, if it don't have no preservatives in it, let's do it in a can, because there is some people that just want that canned product because it is easy. But
Right.
it's so many challenging ways. And that's why we've been working on this for about a year and a half, is because we're not going to put out a canned energy drink or a canned hydrate drink unless we're able to do this with no preservatives, because we're not going to put anything in a product that has tons of preservatives. But we are working on an energy in the can right now. We're also working on a hydrate in the can. Probably going to be releasing the energy in the can probably around September, and then probably next fall or next spring, next summer, hydrate in the can. But these sticks are so convenient. and they're powerful. I'm going to send you some,
Hmm.
but we want to be recognized as
Right.
the brand. We're picking up a lot of people in the marketplace in pro sports right now, a lot of the college athletes, but the biggest thing, our largest consumer base is just the everyday guy like you and I. You
Hmm.
know what? We don't want to be average. I mean, you and I might not play college sports or professional sports,
Still in us,
but
right?
as one, I get up every day and I'm an athlete, brother. I
Yeah.
look in the mirror and I say, what's Jeremy Fouts got today? I mean, I'm going to go give it my all in the gym. I
Yeah.
work out 6 days a week.
Hmm.
And a lot of that reason is too, is I've got two boys looking at me. I got a boy getting
Right.
recruited in baseball. I've got another one that's one of the top defenders in the country in lacrosse. He also plays football and baseball. And as a parent, I work with a lot of parents that they want their son or daughter to be the best athlete. And I look at them and say, what are you
Right.
doing on a daily basis? You're sitting on the couch watching Netflix, eating Doritos, and you're
Exactly.
wondering why your son don't follow his nutrition plan or his workout plan.
Yeah.
So as a company, we want to be known as that company that not only has the best products, but the community you can come to. We have a CorVive app that we provide to our customers.
Mhm.
That way they can follow their workout plan. They can look at their meal structure. They know what their macros are,
Right.
but we want to provide a company and a brand that is producing not just young athletes, not just helping college athletes or pro athletes, but helping the majority of the people be the best they can be in life.
Yes, that I mean, I'm out here. The reason I moved to Florida was because of the fitness and the athletics community, and it has not disappointed. People move here just to train. People move here just to work out and get themselves an edge. And it is kind of a Gator town with Gatorade and all that. But like you just said, the research is out, the information is out, the red dye is out. You don't have to go about, like we see in our politics. You don't have to go about saying, "Oh, we're trying to beat Gatorade or we're trying to beat Powerade." You have that much confidence that your stuff is just legit, that it's not about, and I'm glad you mentioned that as well. It's not necessarily about beating a competitor, especially in business. It's about your morals, your ethics, and actually why you're in business in the first place. That's how you get ahead. And that's how you get real support for any politicians out there listening. But we won't bring up politics today. How do people get in touch with you? What's the best way for them to reach out and all that kind of stuff?
The best way is at Jeremy Fouts Leadership is my
Mhm.
Instagram. I get a lot of emails, and that's not usually the best way, but at Jeremy Fouts Leadership, that's my Instagram. That is the best way. And, I'm very responsive to people as one. I've got a heart for people, man. I love helping people with
Yes.
anything that they need, from fitness to
Mhm.
mental mindset, whatever. I'll support and help them any way I can.
Right.
That's my love and my passion, man. What can I do today to make others better?
Yes, it's a large sum, and you truly do have a big heart because again, you put it the whole situation out for me. I'm sure how many men are listening in, but you go and go back into the working world after living through that retirement. It takes someone that really gives a damn about people and continuing to grow. So, Jeremy, this has been absolutely incredible, man. I'm looking forward to getting my samples. I'm 1,000% sure you got a new customer in me because I definitely need it. And so the way I close out all the shows is I want you to use your imagination a little bit. You are, I believe, I guess you were like mid-20s when I think you told a story about how the dinner came out. You took your wife out for dinner. You thought you had the money, but we are in a recession or something like that, and you had to ask her to pay for it. So pretend that version of Jeremy has come into the Zoom room. Give that young man some words of encouragement about how things are going to be, and we'll officially close.
Yeah, as one, that's something that I'll never forget as long as I live. I talk a lot about peaks and valleys. I tell people that you're either in adversity, it just left, or it's coming. I mean, that's just life, and it's peaks and valleys. And I had good athletic career, and then it come to a stop, and then I had some good times in farming. Then I had some disasters, and then I went to a nutrition company, did really good, and then the founder passed away and dealt with some stuff, and then I left and started this construction company. I was actually 32-year-old, had a construction company that was doing phenomenal. My wife and I had no debt. We started it by ourselves, and then in 2006 the economy crashed, and I had a lot of people owe me money. I had some different things that was going on, as far as when the economy crashed, And I basically drained every bit of my bank account to make sure my employees had a good Christmas because I knew that they needed to have a Christmas, right? They was counting on me, but I had one lady owed me 115,000, another one owed me 150,000. So I mean, I depleted every bit of my funds to make sure that they had a Christmas. Well, went out New Year's Eve with my wife, and I had a big construction project that was been trying to happen, but they couldn't get the loans because of the economy and the crash.
Right.
And I had these different things. So the whole New Year's Eve dinner, you know how us men are. I'm trying to sell my
Yeah.
wife, man.
Yeah.
I'm like nothing else. I'm
Yeah.
gonna get lucky tonight. She's gonna give me some loving because I'm gonna sell her on how good this year is gonna be. And
Yeah.
I've always been an optimistic person. And at the time when the economy crashed, if you had a credit card that had $15,000 limit on it, then the bank would just turn it into a $5,000 limit because they were so scared of everything at the time.
Yeah. Right.
So bill comes, put my credit card down. The lady come back. She said, "I'm sorry, Mr. Fouts, it didn't work." And then I gave another credit card. She said, "I'm sorry, Mr. Fouts, didn't work." And at the time, as when I had a 2-year-old son, another son on the way, no medical insurance, I mean, just drained every bit of my funds to make sure my employees was paid before the end of the year.
Right.
And my wife pulled out money out of her pocket. She said, "My dad gave me some money for Christmas." Now, the reason that hurt so bad is I didn't get her nothing for her birthday on December 10th. I didn't get her nothing for Christmas, December 25th,
Right.
because we depleted all of our funds. Then her dad is pulling out money or giving her money for Christmas. She's pulling it out instead of buying herself something and says, I'll pay for dinner. That hurt, man. That hurt. But what that did is it gave me a fire, man. It
Yeah.
gave me a fire. And 2 weeks later, I found another opportunity with a nutrition company that I made a lot of millions of dollars in a short 6 years.
Right.
And I took her out to dinner as one, and I said, "You pay for the last dinner. I'm paying for this one. But
Yes.
not only that, give me 4 years, and my family will never have to worry about money again."
Yeah.
And I took every one of my failures and learned from them and used them as experiences and knowledge. And I took this opportunity, man, and I went and made it happen.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I'll tell your audience. You're going to have adversity. You're going to have challenges in life, but equip yourself mentally, physically, push yourself to be the best you can. That way, when that adversity comes, you stare it in the eye and you say, "I got this."
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I do want to make sure we point out two men that that may be in a situation like that. His reaction to that was textbook. His reaction to that was, "Look, I'm not going to stay in this place." That's
Mm.
what makes. I don't know who the father-in-law is or the father of your wife and all that, but I'm sure he was so proud of you in that moment, man. I'm sure he's been looking at you like, "I'm so proud of that man for actually stepping up as a man, knowing his disabilities, and he actually did it." That's community, folks. Community ain't got nothing to do with black, white, Mexican, what
No,
politics. Not community is just looking at your men in the eye, us leading and figuring it out along the way. You're not gonna have all the answers, but you need to make sure you just give in your absolute best. It's all we ever gonna ask for you, and it's gonna happen. So again, keep taking those steps forward. You guys know this is where I'm at. Been doing this for 4 years now. Have had nothing but incredible people. People have. You're not the first one to get emotional here. You're not the first one go bankrupt, build it back up. Have nothing but incredible people on this show. So teammates, I'm gonna keep doing it for you guys because I love it. I love it. I love you guys. I love the fact that you continue to listen day after day, and it keeps me motivated. So I thank you, Jeremy, and I thank you as listeners for continuing to just bless this show as it's been blessed. So all
well,
that
as
said,
one,
yeah,
I'll add this to
yeah.
I'll add this too as one real quick. I'll make a coupon code if anyone wants to go to corvive.com,
Mhm.
and that's CORVIVE.com. I'll make a coupon code called Move Swiftly, the name of your podcast,
Mhm.
and they'll get a 30% discount off any products that they want. And
Well,
I'm
there you
sending
go.
you some products for free.
Well, there you go. Thank you. I appreciate that, brother. So, but don't worry, I won't be. I'll end up paying for damn sure because I need it on the regular, and that's another point that if I start talking about that, we'll be on here for another hour to make sure you're putting this stuff in your body on the regular basis. All right. All that being said, fellow teammates, continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.